Stella Williams stared at the pregnancy test in her hand, then at the doctor's kind face, then back at the test. 2 pink lines. Positive. 8 weeks pregnant. This couldn't be happening. Miss Williams, are you all right? Dr. Kim asked gently. Do you need me to call someone? Someone. Stella almost laughed. Who exactly would she call? Her best friend back in Atlanta who told her soul was a mistake? Her boss at the museum who barely tolerated her? Or maybe the masked stranger from that charity auction 8 weeks ago, the one whose face she never saw, whose name she never learned, whose touch she couldn't forget no matter how hard she tried. I'm fine, she lied, clutching her purse. I just need air. The Seoul streets were crowded, suffocating. Stella walked without direction, her mind spinning. She was supposed to fly home in 48 hours. Her visa was expiring. Her temporary contract at the National Museum was ending. Her entire carefully planned life was back in Atlanta, waiting for her to return and finally prove she could make it as an art conservator. And now this. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello. Silence. Then a voice, low and dangerous, speaking English with a Korean accent that made her skin prickle with recognition. Stella Williams. We need to talk about my child. Her heart stopped. The busy street seemed to fade away, sound muffling until all she could hear was her own pulse thundering in her ears. Who is this? You know who I am. A pause. Or rather, you know what we did 8 weeks ago. The Lotus Gallery charity auction. The rooftop. You wore a black dress. I wore a mask. Oh God. Oh God. How did you get my name? Her voice came out strangled. How did you get my number? I'm outside your apartment building. Buzz me up, Stella. Or I'll come up anyway. The line went dead. Stella's hands shook as she hailed a taxi. This was insane. This was actually insane. Some stranger she'd slept with one time, one reckless, stupid, wine-drunk time, somehow knew where she lived. Knew her full name. Knew she was pregnant before she'd even processed it herself. The taxi ride took 15 minutes. It felt like 15 seconds. Her apartment building looked normal. Quiet. Safe. Except for the black Mercedes parked directly in front, engine purring, windows tinted so dark she couldn't see inside. She paid the driver with shaking hands and stepped onto the sidewalk. The Mercedes door opened. He was tall. That was her first coherent thought. Tall and lean, dressed in all black, a long coat that moved like water as he stepped toward her. His face was sharp, beautiful in a dangerous way, with dark eyes that tracked her movement like a predator watching prey. Black ink curved up his neck, disappearing beneath his collar, Korean characters mixed with something else she couldn't make out from this distance. Stella. He said her name like he'd been practicing it. Like he'd said it 1,000 times when she wasn't listening. Stay away from me. She backed toward her building entrance. I don't know who you think you are, but... Min, you know. He stopped walking, held up both hands like he was approaching a spooked animal. That's my name. The name you should have asked for 8 weeks ago. I didn't want to know your name. It was one night. One mistake. Something flickered across his face. Pain, maybe. Or anger. A mistake that's currently 8 weeks along and growing in your body. How did you even? She pressed her hand to her stomach instinctively, protectively. Have you been following me? Yes. The honesty was worse than a lie. For 8 weeks, he continued, voice calm, matter of fact, terrifying, I've had people watching you. Making sure you were safe. Making sure no one else found you first. No one else. Her back hit the building entrance. Nowhere left to run. What does that mean? He moved closer, slow and deliberate, and she could smell his cologne now. Something expensive, cedar and bergamot and danger. It means you're in trouble, Stella. It means that night at the auction, when you crashed into me on the rooftop and helped me when I was bleeding, when you kissed me like the world was ending, you accidentally saved the life of Seoul's most wanted man. Her chest tightened. You're lying. I wish I was. He pulled out his phone, pulled up photos, and held the screen toward her. Stella's blood turned to ice. Photo after photo of her. Walking to the museum. Getting coffee at the cafe in Itaewon. Laughing with her coworker Hannah outside the conservation lab. And in every single photo, there was a red circle around someone in the background. Different faces. Different locations. Same threatening presence. Who are they? She whispered. People who want to hurt me. People who know that the fastest way to break a man is through what he cares about. His jaw tightened. And they know about you now, Stella. They know about the baby. But we were careful. We used. Nothing's foolproof. His eyes dropped to her still flat stomach. And apparently, fate had other plans. She wanted to scream. Wanted to run. Wanted to wake up from this nightmare back in her grandmother's kitchen in Atlanta where life made sense and dangerous. Beautiful Korean men didn't appear in your life like avenging angels with terrible news. What do you want from me? Her voice broke. I want you to pack a bag. He said it gently, like he was asking her to dinner, not appending her entire existence. I want you to come with me. I want you to let me protect you and our child until I can eliminate the threat. I have a flight in 2 days. I have a life. You have enemies you don't even know about. You have 48 hours before they make their move. You have my baby inside you, which makes you mine now whether you like it or not. He stepped closer until she could feel the heat radiating off him. So you can come willingly or I can carry you. But either way, Stella Williams, you're not getting on that plane to Atlanta. The way he said it, calm and absolute, made her believe him. This is kidnapping, she said weakly. This is survival. His hand came up and she flinched, but he just tucked a loose braid behind her ear, the gesture so gentle it made her want to cry. I know you're scared. I know you hate me right now. But I need you to trust me long enough to keep you alive. I don't even know you. You knew me well enough 8 weeks ago. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. You knew me when you bandaged my side on that rooftop. When you told me I was an idiot for getting in a fight at a charity auction. When you kissed me and made me forget, just for a few hours, what kind of monster I am. Stella's breath caught. She remembered that night in fragments. Wine and starlight and the feeling of falling. A man in a mask, bleeding, desperate. Her hands gentle on his wound. His mouth hot against hers. The hotel room that came after, all heat and need and the strange, impossible feeling that she'd known him forever. I need time, she whispered. I need to think. You don't have time. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and cursed in Korean. They're moving faster than I thought. What does that mean? He grabbed her hand, and electricity shot up her arm. It means we're leaving. Now. I need my passport. My clothes. I'll buy you new clothes. Your passport is already in my car. She yanked her hand back. You broke into my apartment? I had your landlord let my people in this morning. No apology. No shame. Everything you need is packed. Everything else can be replaced. Before she could respond, before she could scream or run or process any of this insanity, a black van screeched around the corner. Yunoa's entire body went rigid. He pushed her behind him in one fluid movement, his hand going to something beneath his coat. A gun. He had a gun. Get in the car, he said, voice deadly calm. Get in the car right now, Stella. The van doors opened. 3 men stepped out, and even Stella, who knew nothing about this world, could tell they weren't here to talk. Move. Yuno shoved her toward the Mercedes. His driver was already opening the back door. Stella ran. Her art conservator brain screamed that this was wrong, that she should call the police, that getting in the car with a mafia boss was certifiably insane. But her survival brain, the one that had kept her alive through foster care and poverty and 1,000 small dangers, that brain said, trust him. Live. Figure out the rest later. She dove into the Mercedes. Yuno slid in beside her, slammed the door, and the car was moving before she could blink. Behind them, shouting. A gunshot that made her scream. Yunoa's arm wrapped around her, pulling her down, covering her body with his as the back window shattered. Drive, he barked at the driver in Korean. The car accelerated, weaving through Seoul traffic like they were in an action movie, and Stella couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only feel Yunoa's heart pounding against her back and his hand protective over her stomach. Are you hurt? His voice was rough in her ear. Stella, are you hurt? No, I don't. What just happened? They tried to take you. He didn't move, kept her sheltered beneath him even as the car straightened out, even as they left the chaos behind. They're not trying anymore. She twisted to look at him. His face was inches from hers, dark eyes blazing with something between fury and fear. If you want to hate me, he said quietly, hate me. Curse me. Blame me for every terrible thing that's about to happen. But understand this. You're mine now. That baby is mine. And I will burn Seoul to the ground before I let anyone touch either of you. And despite every logical thought in her head, despite the terror and confusion and absolute insanity of this moment, Stella felt something crack open in her chest. Something that felt dangerously like hope. If this beginning has your heart racing, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to get so much more intense. Drop a comment right now telling me, would you get in that car? Or would you run? The penthouse wasn't what Stella expected. She'd imagined cold marble and sterile white walls, the kind of soulless luxury that screamed money but whispered nothing about the person who lived there. Instead, warm light spilled across dark hardwood floors. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering Seoul skyline, gnomes and tower piercing the night like a guardian. And everywhere, art. Real art. Paintings she recognized from her conservation studies, sculptures that belonged in museums, and in the corner, something that made her breath catch. A half-finished canvas. Abstract, violent strokes of red and black. Beautiful and angry. You paint, she said, turning to look at Yuno. He was shrugging off his coat, revealing more of the ink that covered his skin. Dragons coiled down his forearms, their scales rendered in intricate detail that spoke of hours under the needle. My sister paints. I just pretend. You have a sister? Before he could answer, a door opened down the hallway and a young woman appeared. Early 20s, beautiful, with long dark hair and Yunoa's same sharp cheekbones. She was in a wheelchair and even from across the room, Stella could see the medical equipment attached to the chair's side. Appa. The girl's face lit up. Then she saw Stella and her eyes went wide. Oh my God, you brought a girl home. You actually brought a girl home, and she's gorgeous, and she switched to rapid Korean, gesturing excitedly. Myri English. Yunoa's voice was soft in a way Stella hadn't heard yet. Gentle. Almost vulnerable. Stella doesn't speak Korean yet. Yet? Myri wheeled closer, grinning. So she's staying? This is amazing. I'm Myri, Yunoa's much cooler younger sister. Please tell me you're not a criminal because honestly, his taste in people is terrible. Despite everything, the fear and adrenaline and world-upending chaos, Stella laughed. Actually laughed. I'm an art conservator. I restore paintings. That's so cool. Myri clapped her hands together. We have so many pieces that need work. Appa keeps buying damaged art and then just staring at it sadly like that'll fix it. I do not stare sadly, Yuno protested. You absolutely do. It's pathetic. Myri looked at Stella with open curiosity. So, are you his girlfriend? Please say yes, he needs someone who isn't terrified of him. Stella's throat tightened. It's complicated. Complicated is good. Simple is boring. Myri wheeled even closer and lowered her voice conspiratorially. Is he being all broody and overprotective? Because that's his default setting. You have to ignore at least 60% of what he says or you'll go crazy. Myri, Yuno warned. What? I'm helping. Myri reached out and took Stella's hand. Her grip was weak, but warm. You look exhausted. When's the last time you ate? Stella realized she couldn't remember. Before the doctor's appointment, maybe. A lifetime ago. That's what I thought. Myri shot her brother a look. She needs food. Real food, not whatever takeout you were planning to order. I'll have something brought up. No, I'll make something. Myri started toward the kitchen. I'm not completely useless despite what my body thinks. You're supposed to rest, Yuno said, and the concern in his voice was so raw it hurt to hear. I'm supposed to live. Myri's smile was sad. Let me do that, Appa. Please. He nodded, and Stella watched something pass between them. Understanding, maybe. Or acceptance of something terrible neither wanted to say out loud. When Myri disappeared into the kitchen, Stella finally let herself ask. What's wrong with her? Congenital heart condition. Yuno moved to the window, stared out at Seoul like he was memorizing it. She's been on the transplant list for 3 years. Every time we get close, something falls through. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. His jaw tightened. Just understand that she's the only good thing in my life. The only pure thing. And if anyone ever threatened her the way they're threatening you, he stopped, hands clenching into fists. There wouldn't be enough pieces left to identify the bodies. Stella believed him. They ate in the dining room, Myri's homemade kimchi jjigae warming Stella from the inside out. The younger woman talked constantly, filling the silence with questions about Atlanta and art restoration and whether Stella had tried Korean fried chicken yet. It was normal. Blessedly, impossibly normal. Until Myri's phone buzzed and she checked it, her expression falling. "I need to go back to the hospital," she said quietly. "Just for monitoring. Nothing serious. I'll take you." Was already standing. "No, Tameen is downstairs. You stay with Stella. Make sure she's comfortable." Myri wheeled over to Stella and squeezed her hand. "It was really nice meeting you. I hope you stay. Appa needs someone who can make him smile, and you already did that twice tonight." "I didn't smile, said. "You did. You're just too emotionally constipated to notice." Myri winked at Stella. "Take care of him, okay? He acts all tough and scary, but really he's just a giant softie who cries at sad movies." "I do not cry at movies. Coco." "You sobbed. That movie is emotional manipulation, and you know it." Stella watched them bicker, warmth spreading through her chest. This was his real life. Not the guns and danger and men trying to kidnap her off the street. This. A brother who loved his sister enough to argue about animated movies. After Myri left, the penthouse felt too quiet. Stella stood by the window, looking out at the city lights, trying to process everything. 8 hours ago, she'd been worried about packing her suitcase correctly. Now she was in a mafia boss's penthouse, pregnant with his child, hiding from people who wanted to kill her. "You should hate me." Yuno's voice came from behind her. Close, but not touching. "You should be screaming, demanding I take you to the embassy, threatening to call the police." "Would you let me?" Silence. "No," he finally said. "I wouldn't. Because they can't protect you. No one can protect you except me." She turned to face him. In the low light, he looked younger. Tired. The dangerous mafia boss facade cracking to show the man underneath. "Tell me about that night," she said. "The truth. All of it." He moved to the bar cart, poured himself whiskey, then seemed to remember the baby and set it down untouched. "Someone tried to poison me at the auction. One of my business rivals, I still don't know which one. I felt it hit my system, got to the bathroom before it could do real damage, made myself purge it." Stella remembered finding him on the rooftop, leaning against the railing, blood on his shirt. "But I'd been cut earlier that day," he continued. "Different attack, different enemy. Occupational hazard. The wound reopened when I was sick. I was trying to stop the bleeding when you appeared. You told me you fell." "I lied." His smile was bitter. "I lie a lot, Stella. It's part of the job description. And when I helped you, when I used my scarf as a bandage, I thought you were sent to finish me off. Some kind of elaborate trap." He looked at her, and the vulnerability in his eyes was startling. "But you just kept talking. Scolding me for being reckless. Telling me about art restoration techniques like stopping someone's bleeding was the same as fixing a damaged painting. And I realized you had no idea who I was. You just saw someone who needed help. So you kissed me." "So I kissed you," he agreed. "And you kissed me back. And for the first time in 10 years, I felt like a person instead of a weapon." Stella's chest tightened. The hotel room was the best mistake I've ever made. He crossed to her slowly, giving her time to move away. She didn't. "I told myself I'd find you the next day. Get your name, your number. See if that feeling was real or just adrenaline and proximity to death. But when I woke up, you were gone. No note, no trace. And I convinced myself it was better that way. That you were safer not knowing who I was." His hand came up, hovering near her face, but not quite touching. "Then 3 weeks ago, one of my men saw you at the museum. Ran your face through recognition software. Found out you were leaving Seoul soon. So you had me followed. So I had you protected," he corrected. "Because I couldn't stop thinking about you. And I knew my enemies would use that against me if they found out. And they found out. They always do." His thumb finally made contact, brushing away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. "I'm sorry, Stella. I'm sorry you got dragged into my world. But I'm not sorry about the baby. I'm not sorry I found you again." She should push him away. Should demand he take her to the airport right now, tonight. Consequences be damned. Instead, she asked, "What happens now?" "Now you stay here. Under guard, under my protection." His hand slid to cup her face. "Now I figure out which of my many enemies is bold enough to come after you. And now." His phone buzzed. Then again. Urgent, insistent. He checked it and his expression went from soft to lethal in a heartbeat. What? Stella's stomach dropped. Your apartment. His voice was careful, controlled in a way that terrified her. There was a fire 30 minutes ago. Someone said it deliberately. The room tilted. What? Everything's gone, Stella. They made sure of it. He gripped her shoulders, steadying her. They're sending a message. There's no life to go back to. No escape. They want you to know you're trapped here now. She couldn't breathe. Her clothes, her research notes, her grandmother's Bible that she'd brought from Atlanta, the only thing she had left of her. Gone. Turned to ash by someone who wanted to erase her entire existence. Who did this? The words came out broken. I don't know yet. The promise in his voice was dark and absolute. But I will find out. And when I do, his hands gentled on her face, thumbs wiping away her tears. No one threatens what's mine and lives to talk about it. I'm not yours, she whispered, but it sounded like a lie even to her own ears. Yes, he said softly, you are. You have been since the moment you crashed into my life and refused to let me bleed out on a rooftop. You just didn't know it yet. And God help her, standing in his penthouse with enemies circling and her entire life turned to ash, Stella realized he might be right. She swayed on her feet, exhaustion and shock finally catching up. Caught her, lifted her like she weighed nothing. You need rest. Real rest. I can walk. I know. Let me carry you anyway. He took her to a bedroom that was clearly meant for her. Her suitcase from the apartment was already there, unpacked, her clothes hanging in the closet like she'd lived here for months instead of hours. Sleep, he said, setting her gently on the bed. I'll be right across the hall if you need anything. You know? He paused in the doorway. Thank you, she said quietly, for saving me today. Even if this is all insane and wrong and probably going to get us both killed. Thank you. Something raw crossed his face. You don't have to thank me for protecting my family, Stella. That's just what I do. My family. The words echoed in her head long after he left. She was his family now, whether she wanted to be or not. And the terrifying part? Somewhere between the gunshots and the car chase and meeting his dying sister, she'd started to want it. If you're as hooked as I am, don't forget to like this video. And comment below, what would you have done in Stella's position? Would you trust him? Stella woke to the smell of coffee and something sweet. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. Soul. Pregnant. Mafia boss. Apartment burned. Life destroyed. She sat up, one hand instinctively going to her stomach. Still flat. Still barely real. A soft knock on the door. Come in, she called, expecting Instead, a woman in her 50s entered, carrying a breakfast tray. She smiled warmly and said something in Korean that Stella didn't understand. I'm sorry, I don't. The woman seemed to understand. She set the tray down, pointed to herself. Mrs. Lim. Then pointed to the food and made eating motions. Stella couldn't help but smile. Thank you. Gamowo. Mrs. Lim's face lit up at the Korean word. She patted Stella's hand gently, said something else that sounded encouraging, and left. The breakfast was American. Scrambled eggs, toast, fresh fruit. Someone had been paying attention. Stella ate mechanically, her mind spinning. She needed a plan. Needed to figure out how to get control of this situation before she drowned in it. But every path forward seemed blocked. No apartment. No flight home. No way to leave without putting herself and the baby in danger. The baby. God, the baby. She was going to be a mother. Her grandmother had always said Stella would make a good mother someday, when she was ready, when she'd built the stable life she'd been chasing since aging out of foster care at 18. This wasn't stable. This was chaos. A different knock. Firmer. She knew it was him before she answered. Come in. Entered, and Stella's breath caught. He was in casual clothes today, black jeans and a simple black t-shirt that showed every line of ink covering his arms. Without the suit and coat, he looked younger. More human. More dangerous. How did you sleep? He asked. I didn't. Honest. I kept thinking about my apartment. My research. My grandmother's Bible. His jaw tightened. I'm sorry. Are you? She set down her fork. Or is this convenient for you? Now I have nowhere to run. If I wanted you trapped, there are easier ways. He moved closer, leaning against the dresser. I want you alive, Stella. Everything else is secondary. Who did it? Do you know yet? I have suspicions. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and frowned. I need to handle some business today. You'll stay here with Mrs. Lim and 2 guards outside the penthouse. I'm not a prisoner. No, you're under protection. There's a difference. Is there? She stood, facing him. Because from where I'm standing, it looks the same. He crossed the room in 3 strides, crowding into her space. Not threatening, but intense. You want to leave? Fine. Go. Walk out that door right now. See how long you last before they find you. You're trying to scare me. I'm trying to keep you alive. His hand came up, cupping her face with surprising gentleness. I know this isn't what you wanted. I know I'm not what you wanted. But I need you to understand something. That baby you're carrying? That's my second chance. My only chance at something good in this fucked up life. So yes, I'm going to be overprotective. Yes, I'm going to make decisions you don't like. Because the alternative is losing both of you, and I won't survive that. Stella's anger deflated. She saw the fear in his eyes, raw and honest. This wasn't about control. It was about terror. I need autonomy, she said quietly. I need to feel like I have choices, even if they're limited. Can you give me that? He searched her face. What do you need? A phone. My own phone, not one you've bugged or tracked. Done. But I'm putting my head of security's number in it. 1 button press, and he gets you out of any situation. Access to the internet. Email. I need to contact my boss at the museum. Explain why I'm not coming back. Tell them it's a family emergency. I'll have my lawyer handle the contract termination. And she hesitated. I want to learn Korean. Really learn it. Not just survival phrases. If I'm going to be stuck in this world, I need to understand what people are saying. Something softened in his expression. I'll arrange a tutor. Best in Seoul. Thank you. They stood there, inches apart, the air between them charged with something neither wanted to name. I need to tell you something, said finally. About why I'm so certain you're in danger. I'm listening. There are 3 major syndicates in Seoul. Mine, which focuses on art acquisition and protection services. Then there's the Choi family, old money, traditional. We've had an uneasy truce for years. He paused. And then there's Kong Enterprises, run by a man named Kong Sungmin. He's new, aggressive, and he's been trying to take over my territory for the past year. And you think he's behind the attacks? I know he is. We intercepted communications yesterday. He's the one who ordered your apartment burned. He's the one who sent those men to grab you off the street. Yuno's jaw tightened. He found out about you through someone in my organization. Someone I trusted. Betrayal. The word hung in the air. Do you know who? Not yet. But I will. The promise in his voice made her shiver. And when I do, they'll regret ever breathing your name. His phone buzzed again. Insistent. He cursed under his breath. I have to go, he said. Meeting I can't postpone. But Stella, he caught her hand. Don't leave this penthouse. Please. Not until I get back. I won't. He nodded, started to leave, then turned back. Before she could process what was happening, his lips were on her forehead, gentle and brief. Be safe, he murmured against her skin. Then he was gone, and Stella was left standing there, hand pressed to where he'd kissed her, wondering when exactly she'd stopped being terrified of him and started being terrified for him. The day passed slowly. Mrs. Lim brought lunch. Stella tried to read on the tablet had left for her, but couldn't focus. By evening, she was restless, pacing the penthouse like a caged animal. She found herself drawn to the half-finished painting in the corner. Up close, she could see the technique was actually quite good. Raw, emotional, but skilled. That's mine. Stella spun. Myri was there, wheeling herself into the room. She looked tired, dark circles under her eyes, but she smiled. You paint this? Stella asked. Trying to. It's harder now. My hands shake. Myri moved closer. Do you really restore art? Like, fix damaged paintings? That's what I do. Or did, I guess. Could you teach me? Myri's eyes lit up. Some techniques? I want to finish this before she stopped. I just want to finish it. Before she runs out of time. The unspoken words hung heavy. I'd love to teach you, Stella said softly. They spent the next 2 hours talking about art. Myri was brilliant, her understanding of color theory and composition instinctive. She showed Stella more of her work, canvases stacked in her room, each one more beautiful and heartbreaking than the last. These should be in galleries, Stella said, holding up a piece that took her breath away. Appa keeps saying that. But I'm not ready. Myri smiled sadly. I want to get better first. Have more time. Myri, I know I'm dying. The younger woman said it matter-of-factly. The doctors give me 6 months, maybe 8 if I'm lucky. The transplant list is long, and I keep getting bumped down because I'm not critical enough yet. She laughed bitterly. Funny how that works. Not sick enough to save, too sick to live normally. Stella's throat tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be. I've made peace with it. Myri reached out and took her hand. But hasn't. He thinks if he just tries hard enough, pays enough money, threatens enough people, he can fix me. And he can't. Nobody can. He loves you very much. I know. That's why I need you to promise me something. Myri's grip tightened. When I'm gone, take care of him. Don't let him drown in the darkness. He's not as strong as he pretends to be. Myri, you're not. Promise me, Stella. Please. Looking into those desperate, knowing eyes, Stella couldn't refuse. I promise. They talked until Myri started yawning, exhaustion catching up. Mrs. Lim appeared to help her back to her room, and Stella was alone again. Night fell. Still no. Stella tried not to worry. Failed completely. She was staring out at the Seoul skyline when she heard the elevator ding. Finally. She turned, relief flooding through her. Then she saw his face. Blood on his knuckles. A cut on his cheek. But worse than the physical damage was the look in his eyes. Cold. Dead. The look of a man who'd done something terrible and felt nothing about it. What happened? She crossed to him immediately. I found the leak. His voice was flat. Taemin. My head of security for 5 years. He's been feeding information to Sungmin for money. His daughter needed surgery, and I didn't know, and Sungmin paid. He told Sungmin about you. About the baby. About your apartment address, your schedule, everything. He looked at his bloodied hands like they belonged to someone else. I should have seen it. Should have known. What did you do to him? What needed to be done? He met her eyes, and she saw the monster he'd warned her about. He endangered you. He endangered our child. There are consequences for that. Stella should have been horrified. Should have run screaming. Instead, she took his hands and led him to the bathroom. Sit, she said quietly. He obeyed, watching her with those dead eyes as she ran warm water, found a first aid kit, began cleaning his knuckles with gentle efficiency. You should be afraid of me, he said. I know. I just killed a man, Stella. Slowly. Painfully. I know. She dabbed antiseptic on the cut on his cheek. He didn't flinch. Did he suffer? Yes. Good. The word surprised her. She'd never been a violent person. But the thought of someone deliberately putting her baby in danger, someone betraying this man who was trying so hard to protect them, it made something dark unfurl in her chest. He deserved it. Yuno's hand came up, catching her wrist. What are you saying? I'm saying I understand. I'm saying I don't blame you. She cupped his face, forced him to look at her. I'm saying you don't have to pretend with me. I see who you are, and I'm still here. Something cracked in his expression. The mask falling away, revealing raw, desperate need. Stella. She kissed him. It was different from that first night 8 weeks ago. That had been reckless, wine-soaked, driven by adrenaline and attraction. This was deliberate. A choice. An acceptance of everything he was and everything they were becoming. He kissed her back like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. His hands slid into her hair, gentle despite the violence still staining his knuckles. She could taste blood on his split lip, could feel his heart racing against her chest. We shouldn't, he breathed against her mouth. You're pregnant. You should rest. I should. Stop talking. She kissed him again, harder. I need this. I need to feel something other than fear. He searched her eyes, looking for doubt or hesitation. Found only certainty. Tell me to stop, he whispered. Anytime, Stella. Just tell me. Don't stop. He lifted her like she weighed nothing, carried her to his bedroom across the hall, laid her on his bed like she was something precious. And then he proceeded to take her apart with a tenderness that made her want to cry. This wasn't just sex. It was communion. Affirmation. Two broken people finding something whole in each other. After, she lay in his arms, his hand protective over her stomach, both of them breathing hard. I love you, he said into the darkness. I know it's too soon. I know you probably don't feel the same. But I need you to know. I've loved you since you told me I was an idiot and bandaged me anyway. Stella's chest tightened. She wanted to say it back. Wanted to tell him that somewhere between the terror and the forced proximity and meeting his dying sister, she'd started falling too. But the words stuck in her throat, too big and terrifying to voice. Instead, she turned in his arms and kissed him. Soft. Promise. He understood. She could see it in his eyes. They had time. They'd figure out the words later. What neither of them knew was that in 12 hours, Sung Min would make his move. And this time, there would be no warning. Are you crying yet? Because I am. Hit that like button if this story has you feeling all the feelings, and drop a comment telling me, was Stella right to stay? Does Yuno deserve her love? Morning came with disaster. Stella woke to shouting. Korean, rapid and urgent, coming from the living room. She grabbed Yuno's shirt from the floor, pulled it on, and rushed out. Yuno was on the phone, pacing like a caged animal. 3 of his men stood near the elevator, weapons visible, expressions grim. Mrs. Lim hovered near Myri's room, wringing her hands. What's happening? Stella asked. Yuno's eyes snapped to her. He said something sharp in Korean to his men, then crossed to her in 3 strides. Sungmin made his move. He hit 2 of my warehouses overnight, took hostages. His jaw was tight enough to shatter. And he sent a message. He wants to meet. Neutral ground. Says he'll release the hostages if I agree to his terms. What terms? His silence was answer enough. He wants me, Stella said. Not a question. He wants leverage. You're just the most effective kind. Yuno's hands settled on her shoulders. I'm not giving you to him. I'm not even considering it. What if people die because of me? People die in my world every day. That's not on you. His grip tightened. Listen to me, Stella. Sungmin doesn't negotiate. He doesn't honor deals. If I hand you over, he'll kill you anyway just to prove a point. The hostages are probably already dead. Her stomach turned. Then what do? I'm going to the meeting. I'm going to end this. He pulled out a phone, pressed it into her hands. But you're staying here with my best security team. If anything goes wrong, if you even think something's wrong, you press the red button. It'll send an alert and get you to a safe house. I don't want to run. I want to stay with you. No. The word was absolute. You and the baby are the only good things I have left in this world. I won't risk you. And what about risking yourself? Her voice cracked. You think I want to be safe while you walk into a trap? Something softened in his face. He cupped her cheek, thumb brushing away tears she didn't realize were falling. I've been walking into traps my whole life, sweetheart. This is just another Tuesday. Don't joke. Not about this. I'm not joking. I'm promising. He kissed her forehead. I will come back to you. Both of you. I swear it. Behind them, one of his men called out something urgent in Korean. I have to go. Yuno started toward the elevator, then stopped. Turned back. Stella. Yeah. I meant what I said last night. I love you. Remember that. Then he was gone, the elevator doors closing on his face, and Stella was left standing there with her heart in her throat. The hours that followed were torture. Mrs. Lim tried to keep her busy with food, with tea, with gentle distractions. Myri appeared, pale but trying to smile. He'll be okay, the younger woman said. Appa always comes back. You don't know that. I do. Because he has something to come back for now. Myri took her hand. You and the baby. That's his reason. Stella wanted to believe her. Tried to believe her. But the hours stretched on and her phone stayed silent and the fear in her chest grew teeth. It was almost noon when everything went wrong. The power cut out. Emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. One of the guards shouted something. Then gunfire. Sharp, sudden, terrifying. Mrs. Lim grabbed Stella's arm, pulling her toward Myri's room. The younger woman was already moving, wheeling herself fast despite the tremor in her hands. They made it into the bedroom. Mrs. Lim locked the door, pushed furniture against it. More gunfire. Closer now. The panic room, Myri gasped. Behind the bookshelf. Mrs. Lim was already moving, pressing something that made the bookshelf swing open, revealing a reinforced door. They got inside just as something heavy slammed against the bedroom door. The panic room was small but well-stocked. Water, food, medical supplies. A monitor showing security feeds from throughout the penthouse. On the screens, Stella watched armed men in tactical gear searching room by room. "How did they get in?" she whispered. "I don't know." Myri was shaking. The security system should have held. They had inside help. The thought was ice in Stella's veins. Someone else betrayed, you know. On the monitor, one of the intruders stopped in the living room. Pulled out a phone. Started speaking. "I wish I could hear what he's saying," Stella said. Myri pressed a button. Sound crackled to life. "Secured the penthouse. The woman's not here. Must be in the safe room." A pause. "Yes, sir. We're searching now. If we don't find her in 10 minutes, we burn it down." Stella's blood turned to ice. "They're going to burn the building," she whispered. "We'll be trapped. There's an exit." Mrs. Lim pointed to a door at the back of the panic room. "Leads to service stairs. Goes all the way down to parking garage. Then we run." Stella looked at Myri. "Can you make it?" "I'll have to." The younger woman's face was set with determination. "Let's go." They moved as quietly as possible. The service stairs were narrow, dark. Myri's wheelchair wouldn't fit, so Stella and Mrs. Lim took turns supporting her weight as they descended. 3 flights down, they heard voices below. More men, blocking their escape. "Back up," Stella whispered. They retreated to the 3rd-floor landing. Through the door window, Stella could see an empty hallway. "We need another way out," Myri said, breathing hard. Stella thought fast. She'd studied the building layout when she couldn't sleep. There was a skybridge on this floor, connecting to the neighboring building. "This way." She helped Myri through the door. They'd made it halfway down the hallway when a door opened ahead of them. A man stepped out. Not tactical gear. Expensive suit. Late 40s, with cold eyes and a smile that made Stella's skin crawl. Stella Williams. Kong Sung-min. She knew it instinctively. "We haven't been properly introduced. Stay away from us." Stella positioned herself in front of Myri and Mrs. Lim. Such loyalty. "It's almost admirable." He moved closer, and Stella saw he had a gun. "You really chose him over your own safety? Over your child's future? He's protecting us. You're the one hunting us. I'm eliminating competition." Sung-min's smile widened. Min Yuno's weakness has always been caring too much. His sister. Now you. It makes him predictable. Manageable. He'll kill you for this. He'll try. That's what I'm counting on. Sung-min raised the gun. "But first, you're going to come with me. Quietly. Or I shoot his precious sister right now." Stella's mind raced. The phone in her pocket. The red button. But if she pressed it now, Sung-min would shoot before help arrived. "Okay," she said, hands up. "Okay, I'll come. Just don't hurt them." "Stella, no," Myri started. "It's okay." Stella met the younger woman's eyes, tried to communicate everything she couldn't say. "It's going to be okay." Sung-min grabbed her arm, gun pressed to her side. Started walking her back toward the elevators. They were halfway there when the lights came back on. And Yuno stepped out of the elevator. His clothes were torn. Blood on his face, his hands. He looked like he'd fought through hell to get here. His eyes found Stella. Then Sung-min. Then the gun. "Let her go." His voice was death itself. "I don't think so." Sung-min pressed the gun harder into Stella's ribs. "You're going to walk away, Min. You're going to let me take her. Or I shoot her and your child right here. If you pull that trigger, you die 1 second later. And it won't be quick. Then we both lose." They stood frozen. Standoff. Stella could feel Sung-min's finger tightening on the trigger. Time slowed. She remembered her grandmother's voice. "When you got nothing left to lose, baby, that's when you're most dangerous." Stella slammed her elbow back into Sung-min's ribs with everything she had. He gasped, grip loosening for just a second. It was enough. Yuno moved like lightning. Crossed the distance, grabbed the gun, twisted it away. The weapon clattered to the floor. What happened next was brutal and efficient. Yuno's fist connected with Sung-min's face once, twice. The man crumpled. Then Yuno was on him, knee on his chest, hands around his throat. "You threatened my family." Each word was punctuated with pressure. "You came into my home. You touched what's mine. You know." Stella's voice cut through his rage. Don't. He looked at her, eyes wild, barely human. Don't kill him, she said. Not because Sungmin deserved mercy, but because she could see what it would cost to cross that line with her watching. Call the police. Let them handle it. The police can't. Yes, they can. You have evidence, right? Of everything he's done. She moved closer. You told me you wanted to be better. For me. For the baby. This is how you start. Something in her words reached him. The rage in his eyes cleared slightly. He pulled out his phone, made a call. His men appeared moments later, hauling Sungmin away. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Then was standing, crossing to her, hands gentle on her face. Are you hurt? Did he? I'm fine. We're fine. She pressed his hand to her stomach. All of us. He pulled her into his arms, held her so tight she could barely breathe. She felt him shaking, felt the fear finally catching up now that the danger had passed. I thought I lost you, he whispered into her hair. I thought. You didn't. I'm here. I'm okay. Behind them, Myri called out weakly. Released Stella immediately, rushing to his sister. She'd collapsed against the wall, exhaustion and stress overwhelming her failing heart. Hospital, he barked. Now. The next hours were a blur. Ambulances, hospitals, police statements. Stella sat in a waiting room while doctors worked on Myri, while paced like a caged animal, while Mrs. Lim prayed quietly. It was almost midnight when the doctor finally appeared. She's stable, he said in English for Stella's benefit. But barely. The stress today pushed her too far. I'm moving her to the top of the transplant list. If a heart doesn't come soon, he didn't finish. Didn't have to. His face was stone, but Stella saw his hands shaking. She took one, laced their fingers together. She's strong. She'll hold on. You don't know that. I do. She promised to teach me more painting techniques. She doesn't break promises. He almost smiled. Almost. 2 weeks passed. Sungmin was arrested, his organization dismantled. Evidence of corruption reached so high up the political chain that it made international news. Started the process of legitimizing his businesses. Real galleries, real art acquisitions, no more shadow dealings. And then, in the middle of the night, the call came. They had a heart. For Myri. The surgery took 12 hours. Stella sat with in the waiting room, his head in her lap, her fingers running through his hair. She's going to make it, Stella whispered. She has to. I need her to be this baby's aunt. You really think we can do this? Asked. Build a normal life after everything? Normal's overrated. She smiled. But happy? Yeah, I think we can do happy. When the surgeon finally appeared, smiling, saying the transplant was successful, cried. Actually cried, his face in Stella's shoulder, relief and joy and overwhelming emotion finally breaking through. 3 months later, Stella stood in front of a mirror, adjusting her dress. Not white. She'd chosen deep blue, the color of the ocean at night. Beautiful and unexpected. Myri wheeled up beside her, glowing with health and happiness. You look beautiful, the younger woman said. I look pregnant. You look beautiful and pregnant. There's a difference. Myri grinned. My nephew's already making his presence known. They'd found out last week. A boy. Stella had cried. Had looked terrified and thrilled in equal measure. The wedding was small. Just Myri, Mrs. Lim, a handful of Yunoa's trusted people who'd become her friends. No press, no spectacle. Just 2 people who'd found each other in the darkness, choosing to walk into the light together. Waited at the end of the aisle in a traditional Korean hanbok. When he saw her, his face transformed. Pure love, pure joy. Stella walked toward him, toward their future, toward everything she'd never known she wanted until it crashed into her life and refused to let go. Their vows were simple. I promise to choose you, she said. Every day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I promise to be worthy of that choice, he replied. To be the man you see in me. The father our son deserves. When they kissed, Myri cheered. Mrs. Lim cried. And Stella felt, for the first time since her grandmother died, like she was finally home. 6 months later, in the early morning hours, their son was born. They named him Elijah Minjae. Strength and wisdom in 2 languages. Stella watched hold their son for the first time. This dangerous man rendered helpless by 7 pounds of baby, and she knew. This was it. This was everything. Thank you, No whispered, tears streaming down his face. Thank you for crashing into my life. For saving me in more ways than one. For giving me this. We saved each other, Stella said. That's how the best love stories work. And in that hospital room, surrounded by family chosen and born, they began their next chapter. Together. If this story wrecked you in the best way possible, don't just like this video, smash that like button. Drop a comment telling me your favorite moment. Was it the panic room escape? The wedding? That first moment held his son? And subscribe, because I have so many more stories that will make you feel every single emotion. Hit that notification bell so you never miss when I drop the next heart-stopping romance. Thank you for coming on this journey with Stella and Now go binge my other stories, because once you start, you can't stop. I'll see you in the next one.